Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Brooks Crossover. I'm an oil painter. I paint a couple different places, but this is one of the places I paint. And today, most of the time I only put out videos, like tutorial videos on my Patreon. So I will put the Patreon link in the description below. Please go ahead and click on it. But today, just because I am hoping to possibly bring in new people and a newer audience to my videos, I'm going to do a tutorial on how I paint a dog, or maybe not so much a tutorial, more of like a process video of how I paint a dog. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here I have my sweet little puppy. I sketched it out here. This is a commission I'm doing. Figured I might as well go ahead and do a video painting along with it. Something that I like to do is start with the eyes, because when you start with the eyes, it gives whatever you're painting, whether it be a person or a pet or really anything that has eyes, it has a presence, it feels real. And so you want to continue exploring and see, who is this person, you know, let's figure it out. So anyway, without further ado, let's get right into it here. I'm gonna zoom into my eyes. So this is a phthalo blue and alizarin crimson mixture that I did together. Go ahead and detail. I get the outlines of the eyes in there. Everybody has their own way of painting, and this is just my way of doing it. So if you are kind of learning from this, make sure to switch it up and do things your own way. You'll see what I'm doing. A lot of times I like to use my pinky. The pinky on the canvas, it gives me leverage, so it helps me get lines the way I want them to be. Not being a little too shaky, because I do kind of have shaky hands. Oh, this doggy has some beautiful, beautiful bluish green eyes, so I really want the eyes to pop. And that's my dog barking in the background, if you can hear that. Matisse, shut up! Now, one thing that's important to remember, especially if you're doing eyes, is that you want to work on both of them kind of simultaneously. So see how instead of detailing one all the way, I'm going and kind of doing them both at the same time? It's a lot like doing makeup. You want to make sure that they're even, so work on them together. You know, if you just do one eye, then the other one might end up looking wonky, so it kind of helps to do them both together. Now I'm going in and I'm putting in some little glows and highlights into the eyes, just to give it that depth. And okay, so now we have the eyes kind of just placed in there. I'll go back in and add some more highlights and lowlights a little bit later on. But for now, I just kind of wanted to start with them, because now I feel like this is a real dog. This is something real going on here, and I like that, you know. I want to develop a relationship with this dog, you know. Not in like a weird kind of like sexual animalistic bestiality way, but in like, I want to paint this dog, figure out who he or she is. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? I don't know. It's a commission, but what matters is that we get this painting done and we make it beautiful, and let's freaking do it, whatever. Okay, so next I want to go ahead and start just kind of filling in the basic like main batches of color. So see, this is why I need a real tripod. I'm using a shoe. Yes, it's easy to laugh it up, guys. I'm poor. Okay, I'm using a shoe and I'm trying to balance on the shoe. That's gonna have to just do for now, maybe. Oh my god. So to fill in the main batches of color, I'm going to use my handy dandy angle brush. I love an angle brush. Anyone, it's my favorite kind of brush to use. If you guys follow my Patreon or have seen me paint before, you know that by now. So I like to start with the darks and then work my way up into the lights. So I'm gonna start going fast again. Right now I'm really just filling in the darks of the fur, and I'm doing that with an alizarin crimson and phthalo blue mixture. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the colors I use right now, but I will on my Patreon. I just can't give away all the secrets unless you're paying that good money. Alright, so now next what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to add in, there's some brown spots in the dog as well. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to start adding in the base of the brown spots, and basically I'm going to do something very similar to what I was doing with the black spots. So I'm going to start very dark with them, and then pull lights from that. Now keep in mind, right now I'm just doing the basic main color form, so I'm using a lot of gamsol. I'm keeping the paint very thin. I'll get thick later. Alright, so now same thing as before, I'm going to go in, I'm going to start to pop out some of these brown spots, the dark that I put in, with some light. So thinning down the paint with gamsol is very helpful, especially in the base layers, because it dries quicker and you can go in and start to pull out highlights and push in shadows much easier later on. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and do the last base color, which is just the whites in this, and then maybe we'll work on the background a little bit. So if you're like me, you might get bored if you're just sticking around one area and trying to detail it all the way through. So I always like to dance around the entire painting and just fill in different areas when I can. You know, there's no real right or wrong way to do it, but this is just the way I do things. Okay, so now we've filled in the basic blocks of the dog's color. What I'd like to do now is put this dog in a place. And now my paintings, I generally like to paint from imagined spaces, and the painting, it all depends on the subject, what space the subject is going to occupy. And so I really want to base it around this dog's eyes, and I think this dog has like some incredible like sapphire, they're like sapphire emeraldy, they have this beautiful glowing bluish green color to them. So I'm going to give this the sky a similar quality, and maybe bring in some cool colored grasses around it. So I'm going to go ahead and lay in the base of the sky and the grass now. Now once again I'm using my handy dandy angle brush, going in there and laying down this nice turquoisey color. I'm going to create a bit of a gradient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add titanium white right there in the bottom, and then some phthalo blue up on top, just to give it some depth. Alright, so now that I have my nice gradient sort of blue sky going on back here, let's go ahead and add in the basic dark green underneath that will pull the plants out of that the dog is sitting. So I'm going to put the grass in, but I think just to connect the grass and the sky, I'm going to get some mountains back there. And what that'll help do is just kind of marry the foreground and background together and just make things feel a little bit smoother, give the space a bit more of a sense of reality. So I'm going in and I'm getting a little bit lighter down towards the bottom where the grass is getting closer. It kind of helps bring things forward a little bit, if you ask me. Alright, so now that I've laid down pretty much all of the base colors, and the base layers are down, very thin with gamsol, I'm going to go ahead and pretty much start right from the beginning. I'm going to go back to the eyes again, but this time I'm going to start to do the details. So now we'll pull the details out of everything that we started before, and we'll finish up with doing the details in the background, and that'll be our painting. So let's go right on ahead and start adding some details into the eyes and then work our way from the fur out. Here we go. So what's important to remember is that what's happening on the outside of the eyes, such as the lids and what puts the eyes in the skull, is oftentimes just as important as what's happening in the eyes. Now I'm going to go ahead and plop that nose in there so it actually, the dog has a real nose. And just really elaborate on details that I've already kind of sketched out a little bit beforehand by blocking in these colors. Okay, so now I've done some detail work and started to pull out a little bit of the fur, the lights, the shadows, and what's going on here. So we'll return to the dog in a little bit, but for now, let's go ahead and start focusing on putting in some grass and greenery and stuff around to kind of marry the foreground and the background together. So one of my favorite things about using an angle brush is you can get some really nice edges, and you can get thick or thin depending on how hard you press down on the brush and how much paint is loaded into it. Alright, so I went ahead and I added in some grass, and I'm going to go back in later on and pull out a couple more highlights, but the next thing I want to do is, I was saying before, I want to base this painting sort of around the beauty of these dogs' glowing green bluish eyes. And so what I'd like to do now is, we have the basic details and colors down, but now what I want to do is I want to pull out some of this color and marry the painting by embracing it everywhere, all throughout, to give it this sort of atmosphere around this color. So now we're going to take that color and push it throughout the whole piece to give it that gestalt. Alright, here we go. So one of my favorite things about oil paint is that it doesn't dry very quickly. So you can use colors on your palette and just incorporate them throughout. I think the final touch what I'm going to do is kind of put some more darks back into the grass, because I'm feeling now as though there's really not enough depth to what's going on around the dog, just because the fur on the dog is already so dark. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more of the darks into the grass, and then I think that'll just about do it. I don't want to get too overcomplicated with this, keep it kind of simple, but you know, at the same time, I think we're almost there. Alright, and there we have it. A sweet, cute little puppy baby boy or girl, I'm not actually sure, but there they are in the grass, chilling and having a good, great, grand old time. Anyway, thanks for watching my painting process of pets, and let me know in the comments below if you've watched this video, because I am highly doubting anyone will. Alright, later guys.